They're not going to foul. The Heat will let it play out. It's over. At last, the long wait is over. After 47 years, the Denver Nuggets can finally call themselves NBA champions.
All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to Basketball in the Mountains. This is episode 36. I am your host, as always, Tyler King, the college sports reporter for the Denver Gazette. Taking a brief break, as you can tell by the intro video, from our 2025-26 college hoops season preview series, which we're trying to get just about every major program in the, not just all the major programs, mid-majors as well, trying to hit every program in the Mountain Time Zone before the start of the season, which is 3 weeks from when we are recording this today, doing this on October 13th, November 3rd. It will be the start of the season on Monday. In case you missed it, we've already got 3 episodes in the feed. Started off with 3 coaching guests that were all great. I appreciate them for their time. Wyoming coach Sundance Wicks, Utah Valley's Todd Phillips, and then the other day we had Montana's Travis DeCure. So appreciate all those coaches for coming on and talking about their teams ahead of what should be interesting seasons for all of them. And we're going to hit plenty more programs ahead of the season, like I said. But with the NBA starting next week, we're going to try to dive in. I'll have another next episode will be Nuggets season preview specific dive. We'll do a deep dive with my guy Vinny Benedetto, my colleague over at the Denver Gazette. Going to try to do a specific video on both the Suns and the Jazz as well. But today we're going to do a little bit something different. Got one of my regular guests and one of my good friends, Caleb Wilfinger from PicksWise, here to do a little bit of a gambling preview. Caleb, if you remember, Caleb was on near the end of the college basketball season to do some talk before and during the tournament. But Caleb and I obviously talk a lot of NBA hoops as well. So, Caleb, appreciate you joining the show today.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, as always. Some of the listeners will remember I was also on the college football one, which is, if looking back on it now,
over on the YouTube feed. Yeah, I don't know if we did a great job with the Buffs and Rams betting stuff there.
I feel like we were both kind of in the ballpark. I mean, we both were, mixed, lean, I guess, negative on both, and so far that's sort of borne out, even though I do think Colorado has played a little bit better than what I would have anticipated prior to the season, but still on pace to be like about 6 wins where I think we were at. So far so good, I guess.
Yeah, it was not looking good for a while for the football teams that I cover here on the Front Range, but they both got wins this past weekend in both an impressive fashion. So plenty of coverage of that coming on my YouTube channel as well. But today we're going to be talking some gambling stuff for the NBA. We're going to hit the over-unders for the Nuggets, Suns, and Jazz. Talk a little bit about those teams because I know Caleb's got some takes on those, and then we'll hit some general other future stuff, some awards before we get out of here. So Caleb, I think we have to start with the Nuggets just because they have by far the highest over-under win total of the 3 teams here in the Mountain Time Zone, and obviously of the team we could probably talk the longest about just because there's just so much excitement here in the Mile High City for this upcoming Nuggets season. Just for context, the over-under, just looking at these on BetMGM, the Nuggets over-under is 53.5. What do you like about that number, and just kind of how excited are you to see what this somewhat new look Nuggets team, how they look when the season starts next week?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to like about the Nuggets. You and I have talked about them here and there in the offseason, really over the summer during free agency. I absolutely love what they did. I would give them like an A, maybe an A- at worst. I thought they were one of the biggest notable improvers via free agency. And you're like, well, they were already a really good team. They already took Oklahoma City to 7 games. That was with a roster that left some to be desired, as we saw play out. And some of it you can't control. MPJ, getting a shoulder injury, but
Aaron Gordon playing basically on one leg
in Game 7, and playing a juggernaut team, a team that maybe not a historical juggernaut in terms of the past and decades ago rolling through everybody, but a team that at least defensively is one of the best we've ever seen. So,
and the numbers board out too. They're one of the best regular season teams in history in terms of point differential and all that. Yeah,
for sure. And they might actually even be better this year, even if they don't necessarily go for it the way they did last year. But putting OKC aside, I think Denver has to. I don't know about has to be, but for me anyway, Denver is the second best team in the West with their offseason additions now. You can maybe argue Houston, but I just value the veteran presence.
With Fred VanVleet out, I think Denver is pretty clearly number 2 in that conference.
Yeah. I mean, you're banking on like a huge leap from some of the young guys in Houston for them to compete in that regard. So yeah, I mean, I love this Nuggets team. Not exactly a hot take. A lot of basketball nerds love what the Nuggets are doing this year and what the product is going to look like. I can't wait for the opening game. I can't wait for how they're going to implement Cam Johnson into the lineup, how he's going to be able to play off Jokic, one of the smartest off-ball players in the league, in my opinion. And you already have Nikola Jokic, goes out saying that he's going to improve the pieces around him. Now you have a guy that is really intuitive and has also played on, frankly, teams that don't have a lot of other intuitive players for years now. So now he's going to Denver. The last time Cam Johnson really flourished, well, he was playing with Chris Paul. And so this is sort of a Chris Paul on steroids sort of thing for him. So I can't wait to watch him. Bruce Brown's back, the band back together from the 2023 title. Jonas Valanciunas, is there. I don't know how it's going to work. I imagine double big would be on the.
I wouldn't, probably not too much, but I think it's just with Valanciunas, I think he's become mostly a bench player at this point, like he was almost all of last season. But he gives you the ability to actually spell Nikola Jokic in a meaningful way, which they haven't had really since Mason Plumlee was the backup center.
Yeah, I don't think that Denver would like I don't think Adelman wants to go double big anyway, but I think it would be an interesting wrinkle once or twice to pull out of mothballs if you're going against a big team like a Houston, for example, that will play.
They will play double bigs, yeah.
Yes, yeah. And that's going to be a real bear to go up against. So very interesting, like the contrast between Jokic and Valanciunas as well. And so very, very interesting, a deeper team, as everybody has said already. I think a team that could easily have one of the 3 or 4 best offenses in the league easily. It sort of depends on how some of the other contenders stack up. Cavs and Knicks, and those teams will certainly be in the running for a top offense. But the Nuggets will be right there. I wonder how they're going to approach the regular season, because Denver has, over the last couple of years since the title, sort of they slow play it. Well, the year after the title, they were slow playing it. Then they went for it, and that probably was a mistake, toward the end. And then last year, they really slow played it. And that might have just been because they had injuries and stuff like that. I don't know if that was necessarily like.
There were some really bad vibes. I mean, obviously, Michael Malone got fired.
Fired at the end of the season, right? But I mean, during the year, they had these weird valleys. I mean, you saw, I'm sure, some of them firsthand. So I actually think this is going to be more like the 2023 Nuggets, where we see them sort of emphasize caring about the regular season, because what do we know? We know they have an elite home court advantage.
Yes, absolutely.
We know that Oklahoma City could probably roll out of bed and win 60 games, but you don't know that that's what they're going to try to do. Things could happen.
They won 68 last year, and I think Chet missed over half the year, and I think Hardesty missed half the year.
So you kind of have
was playing center for a good chunk of that season. They still won 68 games.
Right, you kind of have to pencil them in for around 60, certainly. And so then you look at Denver. I mean, the win total is 53.5. Teams in that range usually are. It's very accurately priced. So teams usually in between 52 and 55, they win in the low 50s. They don't go crazy, go over, but you sort of have a baseline for them. Now, on the OKC side, as a side note, if you're priced at like close to 60 or higher, you actually go over a lot. So when the market is very high and you actually exceed that because you are that elite. But different conversation. With Denver, I think that their goal should be like top 2 seed. It should be get a 2 seed, give ourselves a puncher's chance of having home court in a conference final if something goes wrong with OKC. And I think that they're more than capable of doing that as long as Nikola Jokic plays 65 games.
Yeah, the Nuggets actually had their worst regular season of the Jokic era last year, 50-32. They tied with a bunch of teams, Lakers, Clippers, Minnesota was right in that mix as well. Nuggets obviously ended up getting the 4 seed with the way the tiebreakers worked out. But every other year before that, they've won over 50 games. So I would take a slight over with this. I think they're probably winning between 55, 56 games. And I agree with you. I think going for the 2 seed is probably the most ideal scenario. I don't know if you should go into the year aiming to be the 1 seed, because Obviously, when they won the title, they were the 1 seed. They were just, I think, very clearly the best team in the NBA that season. And everybody knows that the path to the title wasn't, a gauntlet either. But they kind of ran through everybody as the 1 seed, which they worked hard to get. I think because it is probably you mentioned the depth, like it is a much deeper team. Like Julian Schroeder's going to be like your 10th, 11th man this year, when last year he was like your 8th guy. A lot of times with, you mentioned Bruce Brown coming back. Obviously, Valanciunas will play a lot of minutes off the bench. Peyton Watson will still maybe have his role increased as well. Tim Hardaway Jr., I think, will be a guy that David Adelman relies upon a lot. So I think the regular season will be something where they try to win 55, maybe try to shoot for upper 50s if they can get there, if Jokic is just at that level again, which I don't see why he shouldn't be. We can talk about him and his MVP odds later in the podcast. But And with Houston being a little bit less of a contender now with Van Vliet's injury, I think the Nuggets should be able to get to that 55 win mark at the least. So I would take a slight over. I think you probably agree with that, right?
Yeah. When I kind of, full disclosure, I don't do the exact same, intensive power rating prep, things like that, like I do for NFL and college football for the NBA. So I kind of do more like back of napkin little stuff here and there. But I looked at their schedule, for a little deeply, and I looked at sort of teams they catch at certain spots and whatnot. This is a team that they don't have a crazy tough schedule. Teams have to, anytime a team has to go to Denver on a back-to-back, you automatically feel like
it's always a weird spot because
so they have a natural built-in edge that I think really helps them in sort of these season-long, like regular season markets. So yeah, I have them at around like 55 to 57 wins. This is a team that should no doubt to me be one of the 3 best teams in basketball this year. So we'll see. I mean, obviously injuries and whatnot and anything can happen. It's an NBA season. This stuff does happen, but I have them personally 3rd heading into the year. You could flip a coin between them and the Knicks, in my opinion, but I would have them 3rd, and you could argue that they're the 2nd best team actually, but we'll see.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. And I think, I don't think home court is going to be as necessary if they play like the Thunder in an eventual Western Conference Finals, because we saw them win on OKC's floor last year against that juggernaut team. Obviously, game 1, kind of the stunning upset
should have won game 5.
Yeah, as well. Yeah, they were close in game 5 as well, and there was there are plenty of other. I think they lost game 6 at home, or sorry, they won games. They lost. Was that game 4 at home? Yeah, lost game 4 at home. They kind of blew a lead.
Game 4, very very winnable. Jokic didn't play his best.
There was a couple games in that OKC series that Jokic didn't play that well, but I think with the Valanciunas and just the regular depth in general, I think that'll help them a lot in an OKC series, which obviously they're going to be the deepest team in the league once again. So we'll move on to the Suns, who are the second highest with 31.5 as their over under right now. Just a basic question, Caleb. What is this Phoenix Suns team? Because I have no idea. I've been trying to figure it out for weeks now, because I've been watching some of the preseason games, reading the clips. The vibe seems to be pretty good, but I still have no idea what to make of the Suns team. Do you?
Not exactly, but I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think I actually like the over. I think that this is.
I kind of do too. I don't know. It's weird.
I think that this team could be the 12 seed in the West and still go over, like clearly go over this number. Nothing crazy, but I think 34, 35 wins is on the board when looking at the roster. You have a high level floor with Devin Booker, assuming health, obviously, and he's been pretty durable.
He's been kind of an Iron Man for them, sneakily, yeah.
Yeah, the young guys are exciting. I'm very interested in how Malawach is going to be. I'm very interested just the potential.
I love Malawach during the pre-draft process. Everybody remembers.
Yeah, and I think for good reason. I think a lot of people that whose opinions I really respect were big on Malawach. I mean, he hasn't even played basketball for that long, and he's just an absolute special talent from the looks of it, how he played at Duke last year. So very interested in that. I don't think losing Durant was – I love Durant, one of my favorite players of all time, but I don't think it was that impactful from just a wins perspective, because he kind of just did the Devin Booker thing, but in a bigger body and played a different position. You kind of – your spacing, I actually think weirdly could be a little better. You're going to need Grayson Allen to find 2023-24 Grayson Allen form as opposed to last year. but I do think that he can, sort of get back to that. Young team, a lot of new pieces, new parts. I think they did pretty well to salvage. Like I don't think that I don't think the Durant trade was a great trade, but then I think
No.
but they turned it into, they salvaged it in their draft and with some of their other moves on the margins. So I actually kind of think this team in a West where a lot of the contenders are going to be, way up here, and then you have, some basement dwellers we'll get to, but the Suns can kind of be above the basement dwellers, but not a playoff team, and that should get you over, over this like low 30s number.
Yeah, and just all things considered, they won 36 games last year in a disaster season.
Disaster year.
And like the vibes couldn't have been worse. They went 1-9 in the last 10 games as well. So like they were on pace to at least be closer to 500 before the things really fell off the rails the last month or so. And as I did an emergency podcast months ago after the Durant trade, like I obviously don't love Jalen Green, never really have, and I don't think Dylan Brooks could get you something back in value if he has a half decent year and you're able to flip him at the deadline. But what those guys are at least like they provide a decent floor for you. Like I don't think they're so bad that they're going to help you tank. And the Suns don't have their draft picks anyway. So I think there's a decent floor with this group. And like you said, with Devin Booker, he even had kind of a down year last year and they still won 36 games. I like the Mark Williams addition. Like if he's able to stay healthy and be a guy that can play enough minutes so that Malawach doesn't have to start right away. And even some of the other younger guys like Ryan Dunn, I think had a pretty solid rookie year. I like Oso Iguodaro. I mean, they've got other young guys like Jared Butler, Colin Gillespie that I like. And I'm interested to see my guy, Rasheer Fleming, who I was high on in the draft process. I'm interested to see if he can contribute, at all right away. So I think there's a decent floor for this team for sure. And I don't think they're going to be like you. I don't think they're going to be near or at the bottom of the Western Conference, which we will talk about the team that will be at the bottom of the Western Conference in a little bit. But I think the Suns team will have enough to, like I said, they were 11 seed last year with 36 wins. I don't see why they can't do that again this year, all things considered. Like I think that Jordan Knott coming in as the coach, I think he will be a positive influence there. I just think that the vibes with Budenholzer last year were really bad. So I really think that it'll be an encouraging year for Phoenix, because I think goal number one is to, maybe there are some people that think they should want to cash in on Devin Booker, but if the goal is to try to rebuild or retool around him over the next 3-4 years, the goal is keeping him happy and winning enough games where he gets good numbers and you can see some pathway to getting back to relevancy or to relevance. So I think that should be the goal here. So I'm sure you, like you said at the beginning, you think they could go over this 31.5, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it'll probably be, if I had to guess, I'd put them in like the 35 wins range, which is kind of where like most, 12 seeds are, which is around where I see them being. And yeah, a great point about, Ott as the coach. I do like him. And I think that there's an interesting aspect to when you're just hitting like a soft refresh. And I think that in the NBA, some of these teams that hit the refresh and the eyes of the national media are no longer on them. All of a sudden you look over and you're like, oh man, they're on like a 4-game winning streak. And you're like, oh, all they had to do was beat up on like the 4 worst teams in the East on like a road trip or something, or like that. You can sort of walk your way into like the low 30s on wins just by beating some of the really bad teams. So
because there will be teams trying to lose this year, that's for sure.
Absolutely, and Phoenix is not like an easy road trip, and so I do wonder how the fan support's going to be.
A lot of times it comes out the end, when you're playing in LA a couple games or in San Francisco, whatever. Yeah.
You go San Francisco, LA, both LA teams, then you got to go to Phoenix. Like it's just a weird. It's weird. So they much like Denver, we just talked about, they could catch teams in weird spots on back-to-backs or just at the end of 5 games and 8 nights or whatever road trip on the West Coast. So I'm interested in watching the Suns. Very interested early in the season to see how Booker looks and if he's like really focused or if he's kind of like, all right, I'm kind of here like trade me mode, but we'll see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch them for sure in the first couple months. I think by Christmas we'll have a much better idea of what this team is going to look like, how they want to play, all that kind of stuff. So we'll move on to the Jazz, the last team here in the Mountain Time Zone. 18.5 is the win total, which is higher than they won last year when they won 17 games for the worst record in franchise history, and they are going to be bad once again. Spoiler alert. The tank is fully on. It is a roster that is really weird with a bunch of old guys that are very washed and a lot of young guys who we don't know a ton about. So, Caleb, take the floor. Like, what do you like anything about this Jazz team, or is there anything intrigue you about watching them this year? Like, will they get to 18 wins? Like, or that would even be under. Like, can they surpass last year's win total? I don't know.
So, look, nowadays, especially online, there's a lot of discontent. There's a lot of different thoughts. There's a lot of anger and frustration, and a lot of people are divided. And one thing that I would like to call us together and we can all agree on is that this is the worst team in basketball by a good margin. We all have to just come together, put our differences
Even
aside.
worse than Brooklyn and Washington?
Oh, respect the Wizards. The Wizards are like the Wizards are like a 25 win team at least this year. They could. The Wizards are not.
Everyone knows I'm high on Trey Johnson. Everybody remembers for the draft process. I love Trey Johnson.
The Wizards are going to be sneaky good bad. Okay, that's the. I was telling you last year during the playoffs. I'm like, next year Wizards. Now they didn't fully do a lot, but I do like Trey Johnson. Anyway, Utah. I mean, Lauri Markkanen trade block when. Also,
I mean, he really increased his trade value with Eurobasket playing really well for Finland.
I just spoke about Cam Johnson being an intuitive player. I think Lauri Markkanen, even though he is more like ball dominant, he can be that still off ball as like your number two. Or I think he can be. The ideal version of him can be a 2 on a title team. Certainly a contender.
I think probably more of a 3, but if you have like a 2A, 2B kind of thing, like
right. If you have a little bit of a deeper offense, So, but I think he's a player I've always really liked. I think a lot of the hoops nerds just like watching him play because he's an aesthetically interesting player to watch, and I could see him on a number of teams. And it's
going to be tougher to trade him now with the contract, but he's still. I mean, he proved kind of his value back with Eurobasket, like
100%. And I just don't know why the Utah didn't trade him a year and a half ago or something.
Yeah, I fully agree. Last summer would have been the time when Golden State was really after him. That would have been the time. Yeah,
I have no idea. And Utah's got to feel like a punch in the face a little bit, or a punch in the stomach after not being able to get one of the top couple picks.
The worst record in the league last year, and they end up with the 5th pick. So
tough. I have no idea how the Ace Bailey experience is going to go. I know that you and I were not huge fans in the pre-draft process, and
I know Utah fans are getting excited with some of the preseason clips, and I'm like, let me see it in November. Like, I don't know. I'm not a fan, but I'm willing to admit that I could be wrong. Like, if it works out, that would be great for them.
This could definitely be, and shout out to Bill Simmons' corner. This could be the good stats, bad team guy for sure. Like Ace Bailey rookie year, he's obviously, he's up there.
I want to get to his rookie of the year odds.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to win it, but there's definitely wow, Ace Bailey's putting up 23 and he averaged 23 for 2 months straight. Wow. All those
because he's gonna shoot the ball well. Like, he's not a bad shooter.
Absolutely. And it's like, oh wow, he's good efficiency. He's getting rebounds. Like, he's pushing the pace. Utah's, they're losing by 18, but it's like not really his fault. There's a bright spot. So I could totally see that happening, but
because no one's watching them, so they're just box score watching, and they see
absolutely. I see that. The agendas on Twitter. I'm ready for it. I was thinking to myself the other day when I was doing some prep, and I saw the win total here, and I knew it was going to be below 20.
Yeah.
Not many win totals in the last 5 years, like since I've been seriously doing this, have been this low. It's hard to
Brooklyn was last year, I think.
Brooklyn was very
19.5 last year, I think.
There were I think it was like 3 years ago. Detroit was really low, but it was around this number. You have to be really, 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 really bad to get like a 17.5 or under. And I actually think this opened at 17.5 in the market at some spot. So yeah, I mean, 20 wins, man, that would be like a thumbs up for your season.
They are shooting for AJ DeBanza. That's what they are shooting for. Darren
Absolutely.
Peterson,
Local, yeah.
Boozer, yeah.
I mean, one of those three has to go to Utah. The tank
Yes.
is on. This team, this is going to be a shameless February and March.
And they've already gotten fined in the past for it. Like, that
they might
last
win
year,
like one game in a month. Like late
Poor
in the
Will Hardy,
season.
man. I think he's a good coach, but it's going to be what
I
he's
do
working with is
too.
going to be rough. Yeah.
I think Boston would take him back in a second as an assistant, but that's a that's
Yeah.
a
Oh,
different
yeah, for sure.
conversation. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, yeah, this is a weird team. I actually think the Jazz. I know they're a funny organization because they don't have a great fan base reputation with for some good reason, but they're a passionate.
They
fan
care,
base.
they care about
they're a
team,
historic organization. I actually think it's cool, like when they play playoff games and stuff, and they're really into it. Like I think it would be good if they were just not atrocious. So, but that's
they
not.
never have been. Like I said, last year was by far the worst season in franchise history. They
Yeah.
haven't had a ton of top draft picks. I think Ace at 5 this past year was one of the highest draft pick they had in like a decade. I think they took Dante Exum 5th overall. They took Enes Kanter like 3rd overall. They have not had a lot of.
That was a tough one.
They have not had a lot of high draft picks in their history, but they're shooting to have one this year.
What was
of the young guys? Who do you like of the young guys on this team? Like I think there's a couple intriguing guys. Aside from the obvious with Ace Bailey, it could be Walter Clayton, Cody Williams, if you're still interested in that, or is there anybody else you're kind of looking at?
Cody Williams, is that the Japanese soldier who's still fighting after World War II? No, I mean I love Walter Clayton. I think we both are fans now. NBA, who knows how it'll translate, but in terms of some of the shot making, I think will translate just because he's such a tough shot maker. Now that can get you into trouble, obviously, but I don't think Clayton is. I think he's a very intelligent player, and I think that he really took strides to improve last season as a passer. You could kind of see it compared to earlier in his career, and every single year over the last 4 seasons, he's gotten significantly better year to year. So there's no reason. I mean, he monster step up in class going from Iona to Florida, and he was the best player in the NCAA tournament. So I don't.
Yeah.
The limit for him, I don't want to put like a cap on that limit. So I know that with Utah, some of the recent guards, the experience has not gone very well. But I actually think that Clayton is an interesting player where I would have loved him on a more well-rounded, well-built team, to be honest, because I think he would be
8th guy on a team, not even a top contender, but like a
absolutely
fringe playoff team. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, him on I'm trying to even do a comparison, but
like Minnesota would be awesome. Yeah,
sure. It's absolutely something like that. Sure.
If he was in the Rob Dillingham role,
where there's a clear floor and he has defense and stuff like that around him. I don't think Clayton's a terrible defender, but it's a size limitations. So big fan of Walter Clayton. I think he will be a solid NBA player. I just don't know if it's gonna work this year, and this is the best landing spot for him. I think we might not know how good he is if or when he might be on a different type of roster.
Yeah, there are a couple of guys I'm still intrigued by. Like I think Filipowski had an awesome rookie year. He obviously was killing it in summer league, so I'm intrigued to see. Because obviously we talked about there's going to be games where Markkanen sits out with some kind of wrist
a sore knee,
something. And Filipowski's going to be allowed to cook, and I think that'll be good for his. I was really impressed by him as a rookie year. Him and Bryce Sensabaugh too. I think he can just shoot the lights out. If he has a year where he's shooting like 46% from 3, which is not off the table from what we've seen from him, in summer league and the regular or in the preseason here. Like I think he could be in for a pretty big jump up, and people recognizing him as a name that could be a trade candidate. Both those guys I think could be intriguing for Utah as well. But like we said, they are gunning for a top 3 pick because it looks like it's going to be a pretty clear 3-man group at the top of next year's draft class, and they just need to get one of these guys because I think they have a couple decent projects and guys that could be intriguing if there's like one star to build around, but that's just what they're missing. There are a couple teams like that around the league, but Utah I think is chief among them, and just needing one guy to kind of make everything else make sense. So like
will the Angels like make a trade? Like that's the another thing is like you have to know when to sell at some point.
It's now Danny and Austin running the show, and it's kind of more Austin than Danny with
right. So you think about like the Kessler thing, like.
Yeah, that's a thing too. Yeah,
the Knicks would have traded for Kessler, like, or somebody would have traded for Walker Kessler last summer. At this point,
I mean, the Lakers have been the rumored team for years, for like a year and a half now, and it's been like 2 first-round picks isn't enough from Utah's perspective. So it'll be interesting to see if he's moved at some point this year.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a team that there's going to be so much smoke from in February around the deadline in relation to Utah. So we'll see. I mean, not a team that I'm going to be locked in on night to night in all transparency, but I'll
probably go see them when they're in town against Denver. I want to go see what it looks like.
This is a prime like random league pass switch to the game.
I mean, your guy Steve McKayler is going to have one game where he gets hot. I know you've been up to
that's my guy. That's my guy. I mean, he will always be able to shoot. And he did it in the Final Four. He's done it in the NBA in limited action. So, get those shots up, Svi.
All right, before I get you out of here, Caleb, let's just hit on a couple different awards, because I think there's a couple interesting ones with some of the guys and some of the teams we've talked about so far. Obviously, I want to start with MVP. Nikola Jokic, I think, is the second best odds to win MVP right now behind Shea. I think you could make a case that he should be the favorite just because it's so hard to repeat as an MVP. Like, you have to like take a clear step up, and Shea SGA already won 68 games with OKC last year, so I think he would have to take a pretty decent step up in terms of some of his numbers, or having some even more iconic moments in the regular season. So I think there's a case for Jokic to be the favorite to win MVP. I think it's pretty clearly those two, and then probably Giannis would be the third guy. Just kind of, do you think this could be Jokic's fourth MVP?
I think so. I would if I was to make a wager. I mean, they're very short odds, so it's not something
like plus 220 or something like that.
Yeah. In the MVP, in my opinion, this is just the opinion of one guy, but preseason, I never would want to take anyone less than like 4 or 5 to 1.
He's plus 300 right now. Sorry,
just
plus 250 is the favorite.
Just because of the variance. I mean, look, halfway through the year, if OKC and Denver end up looking like the 1 and 2 in the league, I would then place bets on both, because there's one of them is going to win at some point. But for now, I don't know if it's a great number. I think with Jokic, MVP is such a narrative award, and if you follow it, you know this. Like last year, going into the season, no way Jokic was going to win. Like that was just based on how he won the year before, and there was some debate about him or Luka, and then of course they blow the lead in Game 7. This past season, he of course, the voters might have painted themselves in a corner, because Jokic has this incredible year.
One of the best offensive seasons in NBA history.
I mean, it's the best season he's ever had in all likelihood. Title one is up for debate just because of the
individual season. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
From a regular season, it was certainly his best, but SGA also incredible year. Like obviously nothing against SGA, and SGA
win team. It's kind of
I thought he should have. I leaned SGA to win MVP.
So did I at the end, yes, but it was as tight as it ever.
It was as tight as it ever was, and a lot of the voters voted SGA because of the. You don't want to see the precedent of give all these MVPs to Jokic. You have to be like a top 10 all-time guy to get
which
that.
He will be in a couple years. But yeah,
and I agree. Yeah, we're on that path. But the thing was, like, now this year, if Denver looks as if us and a lot of other people are projecting him to look, I think he is the clubhouse leader, because the narrative will shift again. SGA is young, so it's not like he's going to be, oh man, we have to give him back-to-back, like whatever. Now, look, SGA last year had the best guard season in a long time.
His advanced numbers were really, really good too. He wasn't that far behind Jokic, and he was ahead of him.
No, I mean, he's using the defense with him is such a big thing with some of the metrics as well. And obviously, he's like the most efficient mid-range scorer we've had. It's like Michael Jordan. So, that's not bad.
No, not bad at all.
Not bad at all. So, yeah, I mean, we're talking about all-time guys here, but Nikola, I think he's going to win, and if Denver wins, if they're the 2 seed and they have like the second or third best record in the league,
if they win 55 plus games and they're the 2 seed going away, there's a
and what chance. I mean, let's do it. Let's predict the stat line. So 30 and a half 11 and a
I was
half,
gonna
and
say
like
12. Yeah,
12, and like
because he's
9.
getting the rebounds is going
The
through the
rebounds
roof.
is going up. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
So like 9.6,
Yeah.
like on the assists or something like that, 9.3, something in that where he might almost average a triple double.
Yeah, 30, 12, and 9.5. Yeah, that'll probably do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you know what? With Cam Johnson, maybe he does actually make a push for it. So we'll see. It certainly wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility.
Tim Hardaway Jr. is gonna be a fun guy to watch play with him too, I think.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. I mean, coming off the bench, and all he does is just like get the ball and fling it like at the rim. So get those shots up. So yeah, I think I would if I had to make a preseason bet, I think Jokic is a safe option.
The other one I wanted to mention is also Nuggets related, but it is David Adelman to win Coach of the Year. I think his odds, he's plus 2,200 right now, which is it's pretty far down. Like there's a lot. I think Jamal Mosley's the favorite, which got to give him a shout out. He's a CU guy, and I always like talking to him when the Magic come to Denver. He's the clear favorite right now. Not clear favorite. There's a couple guys that are up there with similar odds, but I think David Adelman would be a great bet for Coach of the Year if this Nuggets season goes how we predict it could, and they win, like I said, 55 plus games, and everything looks good. Obviously he got the head start last year with a couple regular season games and then looking impressive in the playoffs, but I think if the Nuggets are the clear 2 seed, and like you said, maybe the clear number 2 team in the entire NBA, I think David Adelman will have a really good chance to win Coach of the Year. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a good value play. Again, some of these Coach of the Year awards, narrative based. Usually,
it's so weird. Yeah.
Usually, it's a team that was not supposed to be great, where the coach elevates them or what have you. We see that actually a lot in the NFL as well. So, but I do think in the case of somebody like Adelman, where if the Nuggets are overwhelmingly successful, then he has to be in the conversation because of the turmoil that the organization was in. And he's also a good story assistant coach. He's not a big name at all. Comes in,
he's a coach's son though, so everyone's gonna know Rick, his dad.
That's true.
Obviously, so that's gonna go into it as well.
But in the sense of like, he wasn't one of the more high profile assistants in the league last year, so I actually do think that there is some value at that number. I was surprised to see it. I would have thought it would maybe be, in between the in the 15-ish range. So over 20 to 1.
Yeah, Ime Udoka's like 13 plus 1,300. Ty Lue's in there, that plus 1,600. Yeah,
Ty Lue, I mean, that's going to be a hilarious situation in Los Angeles. Who knows how that's going to go? Maybe, yeah. That's an interesting.
Your guy Mike Brown's plus 1,100. He's got the 4th best odds. That's interesting.
Yeah, because some of the coaches
you can
that
see
are
the
up
narrative there, like you said. You can see the narrative.
Yeah. Again, Mike Brown and Adelman, very different, but it's similar narratively. Where if those are two of the 3 best teams in the league,
they're going to get a lot of credit for that.
Yeah. The Knicks are scoring a zillion points a game. All of a sudden, there's look what Mike Brown did with this, this team and whatever. So, but yeah, I think Adelman, just from a price perspective, again, the most important thing in my opinion when making any bet is price. So, from a price perspective, I think that's one that you can, take a position on before the season and, reevaluate like halfway through.
Last thing I wanted to mention before I want to get your quick take on some of the college teams you're looking forward to watching in the time zone this season. But Ace Bailey is tied for 2nd best Rookie of the Year odds. Cooper Flagg is like minus 225 to win Rookie of the Year right now.
Don't bet that. Don't bet minus 225. Do not do that.
Surprising, but Ace Bailey is plus 1,000. Him and VJ Edgecombe are tied, and then Trey Johnson, Dylan Harper, Conklin are right behind them. It would take something pretty extraordinary for Ace Bailey to win Rookie of the Year, but kind of what's your take on that market there?
Yeah, if you're looking for a long shot, I would rather look at Edgecombe or Harper. Harper, has already looked really good in the preseason. Him and Wemby.
Fox could be out for a decent bit to start
the
year.
Yeah, and that's. I think Harper, he's like 20 to 1, 18 to 1, depending on where you look at. That's
right here it's plus 1,600, so it's already come down a little bit. Yeah,
absolutely. So yeah, I think people are sort of on the same page in that regard that move markets. So yeah, I like Harper, and I think Edgecombe, it could be an injury situation again in Philadelphia, as it is every year. You know very well. So I think there's a chance that Edgecombe, who is a freak, he's going to be super fun to watch. So I think he could take a bigger leap than maybe some anticipated in the draft process. So I actually would rather look at those 2 guys instead of Ace Bailey, who's on such a bad team. The opportunities for national visibility are so low. And Rookie of the Year is a weird award because, last year there was no consensus until late. who it was going to be. And,
I mean,
so
Jared McCain was on pace to win it. Then he gets hurt, like
he gets
mid-December.
hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, Flag is going to win if he plays the amount of games, but you just don't want to, you're not laying that for him to play 65 games. Like, if you're going to lay that kind of number, just bet on some like Cooper Flag season-long props or something. You don't want to do any of that. So in terms of like just for fun, little pizza money, Harper or Edgecombe, I think are worth the look.
All right, last thing, Caleb, before I get you out of here, give me one or two college teams in the Mountain Time Zone that you're looking forward to watch this year.
Our Rams.
There we go.
Feeling about the Rams. I mean, I think the Mountain West is always super fun. Utah State, I'm really looking forward to watching. And it's a weird year in the Mountain West. We were talking off air right before we hopped on about like New Mexico.
Grand Canyon's in the league this year.
Grand Canyon being in the league is I think a really good look for the league. Like adding a team that has money and has sort of a cachet as well.
They're very invested in basketball down there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And those crowds, like all the crowds in Mount West this year, are going to be so much fun between Utah State, Colorado State, obviously the Pitt, San Diego State, and Grand Canyon with their like wacko fan base. Those guys go hard every game.
Oh, yeah.
So it'll be a super fun league. So I'm interested in Colorado State. I mean,
I'm going to do a deep dive on them before the season. Don't you worry, everybody.
I'll be listening because I do want to know your take because there is a lot to like.
Yeah, I haven't gotten up for a preseason practice yet, but that'll be next week for sure. I will be going up there for one of their practices.
Yeah, there's a lot to like. I mean, I like the staff. I just think that this is a very competent program year to year, and that success should be able to translate. Utah State, I think, excuse me, they're a little more like veteran, so I think that I imagine
a little bit more of a known commodity.
Yeah, they'll be the preseason favorites, I would imagine.
Them or Boise,
in the conference. So and Boise, always got to respect what Rice does over there. So they're going to be physical. They're going to slow the game down. They're going to defend really well. So they'll have some guys back. Like, wow, this guy's his fourth year starter. Like, so they're going to do that again. But Mountain West, we love the Mountain West. I know we'll talk about it always. So I'm looking forward to that. And then elsewhere. I would love to get your opinion actually on Colorado and how that's going to go. And
I was just up there today,
to a lesser extent as well, like Arizona, because you talk about like a team that we both like. We were almost there on Arizona last year in a lot of ways, and that was
I really came around on Caleb Love by the end of the year, which everybody knows I've never really been a Caleb Love guy, but I came around on him with the way he was playing in the tournament for sure.
And they're a team that you look at where they're at this year. Like, I like the front court. I mean, it's
a young team, but it's really intriguing. Yeah.
And I think Lloyd has actually done a better job than I gave him credit for, initially over there. So that's a team where like, man, really fascinating. I don't think they're going to like win the Big 12, but I definitely think they're like a top 4 team in that league. So
yeah, for sure.
Very interesting in terms of some of these like Mountain Pacific teams. Like those are the ones that jump out to me. I'm interested in Washington actually. As well, just from a team like, can they make a leap and make the tournament? I think it's a possibility. I love the coach, so we'll see.
We love Danny Sprinkle on this podcast. He was great at Utah State and Montana State before that. Yeah.
So there's a lot of there's still some prep that I have to do, but in terms of like those are ones that come to mind off the top of my head. All
right, man. I always appreciate the you hopping on for your takes. We always talk off air as well, but I always appreciate you giving us your time on the podcast as well. So thanks again for doing it.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me. I can't believe the NBA season is so soon. And college. I mean, this is going to be. We're getting to the best time of year, but it's going to be a hectic one.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely will be. Thanks again, man. All right, that'll do it from today's episode of Basketball in the Mountains. Make sure to subscribe on Apple or Spotify, or if you're watching on YouTube as well, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. That's all super helpful to me to help grow the channel and the podcast as well. So thanks everybody for watching. Thanks to Caleb Wilfinger for coming on and doing some betting analysis here as we get ready for the NBA season starting up next week. Like Caleb said, it's right around the corner. Hard to believe, but here we are. So thanks everybody for watching, and stay tuned for what's next.